Everyone, right now I'm going to talk about foam rolling, or the use of foam rollers. One of the big people ask, a lot of people are asking, why do I have to use a foam roller? Why do I need to use a foam roller? First of all, I always respond, well, you don't have to do anything. It's America. You could honestly do nothing. And that's kind of what America's all about, is doing the least amount possible and accomplishing nothing. So, or you could actually get a foam roll and do something. So doesn't mean you won't do anything if you won't get a foam roll. But here in Brundage Boot Camp, you're probably going to need a foam roll. And here's why. What we're really going to talk about here is we're going to talk about density of muscle. Now, everyone has knots within their muscle or density within their muscle. And usually it can come from repetitious movement or repetition of non-movement or overuse of muscles. And what usually finds is, such as when people have injuries, if people keep re-injuring certain areas, they will notice that the muscle becomes more dense, and the massage therapist can usually tell right there when they're giving them a good rub down on the calf or something. They'll say, oh, it's very dense right there, or it's very knotted up right there. What we're really looking right here is, for the normal person, the lay person, is to get them moving better, recovering faster. Okay? And to keep their body from responding to this exercise in a way that's going to lead them towards an injury. So another thing we want to be using, well, for both athletes and non-athletes, is to help release some of that density within the muscle. Now, density within the muscle, there's nothing you really do about density. You can't stretch out density. You can't stretch out these knots. Okay, so many people, they're showed many stretching movements, and all that really happens is stretching is for lengthening of a muscle. And you cannot lengthen a muscle when there is a knot in it. You will lengthen all around that knot, but that really still inhibits all the movement. So it's kind of like this thing I have right here, to where if you got this knot in this rope and we want to lengthen this rope out, well, I could stretch it all we like, but it's not going to take that knot out, is it? All it's going to do, it's going to make that knot tighter and more dense. What you really need to do is you need to work that knot out, and then that can start giving that stretch or that extensibility or that contraction that you need, to lengthen that muscle. So another example that I use with a lot of people is, I use, if you had a pair of pants, and I took a pair of pants out of a dryer, and the pants were very wrinkly, and I hand them to Patricia, and I say, now go ahead and stretch those pants out until those wrinkles are out. Well, she wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to apply pressure and heat to be able to get those wrinkles out. And that's really what we're looking to do. We're looking to get the muscles back to a position or a point to where they can extend, contract, and extend, and accept energy throughout the body. Okay? Most times when you have too much density within the muscle, those knots within the muscle, the body is just sending energy all over the place and is not being accepted by that muscle. Okay? Anything you want to add?
Well, yes, actually.
Fine. There.
So when we also talk about myofascial release, which is what we're going to talk about, sure, when we're looking at the fascial layers of the body, sometimes we just have areas of stickiness that don't necessarily feel like knots or areas of density. They just, you notice that you have restricted movement. And it's kind of like if you're removing wallpaper. Have you ever removed wallpaper from the wall? Okay. And you go in and you get parts of it that they fall right off the wall. You put your diff on there and the wallpaper just falls right off the wall. And then there'll be a spot where it sticks and you have to scrape it off. It's kind of what happens with a fascial adhesion. You have an area of just stickiness in the fascial layer, and it can't be worked out via stretching. It's absolutely impossible to work it out via stretching. It has to be worked out either through self-myofascial release or soft tissue body work with a therapist. So we're going to show you how to do it yourself to the point at which you're able to do it yourself.
There's going to be a couple points. I'm a huge fan of foam rolling, just rolling up and down a muscle, allowing for, to work that knot or that density out. But there's also some other things. We're also going to talk about density of foam rolling. Like these foam rolls right here, you can buy from any website. It's got the foam on the outside, but it's got a good, hard, dense piece of PVC pipe. These are used for pretty high traffic areas that a lot of people are going to be using the foam roll. So if you know a lot of people are going to use your specific foam roll, I suggest people get their own darn foam rolls, but do whatever you want to do. It's your class. Okay? But also there's more of a beginning density, which you can get off really any website. Nice white dense foam roll to where you got about 2 months on this, then this is not worth a darn. And then there's medium density foam rolls, which I get most of my athletes to right there. So these are a couple different ideas. There's also foam balls we'll be talking about, stretching ropes. This, right? Dog toys, you know, which actually we got this off. It's a very expensive dog toy, but it's a dog toy. And we'll be talking about tennis balls and other things. So all sorts of things that you can use to help for better movement, better recovery, and to make sure the body responds in a way that accepts energy evenly, all over the body evenly, pretty much. Sound good?
Yes.
Let's go through it. All right. Guys, the first thing I would usually suggest for anybody is, and it's the most affordable thing they're ever going to do, because you go to any store, you'll pay probably $1 for 3 tennis balls. We got a fancy dog toy. Actually, we would much rather have a tennis ball. And if they're ready, you could also go to a higher density golf ball. But I wouldn't put a beginner on a higher density golf ball, because we have a terrible habit of thinking if some is good, more is better, and not being progressive about our ideas. So if you go right to a golf ball, you're probably going to bruise the tissues at the bottom of the feet. So what we're going to talk about here with Patricia is all energy begins right here with her connection to the environment. Her connection to the environment start at the feet. And I don't care how in shape or out of shape you are, that is where it happens. Okay? Energy doesn't start here, it doesn't start here. Okay? It always transfers from the feet to the proper structure, if you will. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have her relax some of those muscles in her feet, because those muscles in her feet, they're always trying to grab and keep her anchored to the environment. Okay? So what we're going to do is, and what you'll notice with a lot of people, a good little test you can take them through, you can try it yourself also, just make sure they don't cheat the test, is have them bend forward at the hips without pushing their spine forward, have them come down as far as they can. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go about 1 minute, okay, without rounding your spine forward. There you go. How far can they come down? And then what we're going to do is we're going to roll the balls of their feet, the heels, the arch. We're going to just kind of relax those up a little bit. And we're going to see what we can do here. So I would say about a minute and make them just go for it. Just massage it right out. They can do this underneath their desk, at home. They should always be taking care of their feet and rolling out their feet. And then again, if there's certain areas that probably need more attention when they've done this for a while, they could consider a golf ball. But I wouldn't go to a golf ball right away, because some is good, more is better, right?
Right.
No, don't agree with me on that. Good heavens. I had a client once grab a rolling pin and he just rolled the tar out of his legs and wondered why he couldn't move for a week. Because you bruise the heck out of your legs, okay? And we're going to get both sides of that. And what you're probably going to find is majority of people, now not everyone, but majority of people, is you're going to get an extra 2, 3, sometimes 6 inches of just the ability to go down and move. Okay? Because what it does, it helps relax the whole body from the feet up. Because remember, tightness starts from the feet up. So this would be the first thing I would suggest. So I would suggest start your boot camp, have everyone bring a tennis ball with them. And what they need to do is, before they start class, is roll the bottom of their feet. Absolutely, let's start this off right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Huh.
Who would have thought?
I really like that idea. One thing to keep in mind too, when people haven't foam rolled before, is that this will probably make them sore. While foam rolling is going to help them recover from exercise probably 60 to 70% faster than simply stretching or not doing anything at all, it's also going to make them sore the first couple of times that they do it. So it's important that you let people know that so they're prepared for it, and let them know that the way to get rid of the soreness is to do it more, is to do more foam rolling and more moving.
Patricia is then going to move up to her hamstrings. Okay, she's going to hit the semimembranosus tendinosus, biceps femoris, or just the inner, outer, and the middle of her hamstring. Notice she's coming all the way from the back of the knee, but not directly on the back of the knee, all the way up to where it connects up into the glute muscle or the butt muscle. And she's going to roll up and down that thing. Now, some people, they won't feel a lot of soreness or tightness here. Some people will feel some, but people usually don't feel this nearly as much as they do the front of the leg. The hamstring's not meant to accept nearly as much energy as the front of the leg, and so it doesn't take as much trauma. However, it's very essential that people roll this out before and after class. When they roll before class, it allows greater movement and energy distribution through class. When they roll after class, it allows for greater blood flow and greater recovery after class. Okay? I really want their spouses and the people around them that love them to be very jealous of everyone's foam roll, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with your foam roll.
Make it
Spend some intimate moments with your foam roll if you don't mind. Yeah. And she's going to roll up and down that calf. Okay, again, she's staying off the back of the knee. Okay, but she's rolling the entire muscle on the inside, middle, and outside. All right, if some people have kind of a hard time bracing under their shoulders, okay, they can go ahead and just hit little parts at a time. Okay, and again, if someone's pretty advanced, they can spend a couple different, they can spend both, they can go put both legs on that foam roll.
Another thing that can happen when people foam roll is they can report symptoms of feeling nauseated or flu-like symptoms. If you've ever had a massage, in particular a deeper tissue massage, you'll experience similar symptoms. It's the same thing with foam rolling. We're pushing out a lot of the toxins and crud that you've been storing in your body, and that creates a feeling of feeling sick or nauseated. So it's totally normal and to be expected with most people, especially people who haven't been taking care of their body to begin with.
So right now we're going to hit the butt muscles, glutes, and the piriformis. Now, depending, you could go to a very aggressive stretch position like Patricia. You'll probably find your students at that time feel a lot of tension, a lot of pain. You'll hear a lot of, oh, right when you hit that. Okay, you could start off just like this, and you could shift it, and you can move to the middle. Now, whenever you want to actually really start hitting that more aggressively, then what you do is the butt muscle that's on the foam roll. So right now my left muscle is on the foam roll. I'm going to cross the same side foot over the opposite knee. Okay? If anybody's ever going to fall off the foam roll, it's going to be right now, because most people, because they have not tested their coordination, are not very coordinated. So I like letting them know, if you fall off the foam roll, it's to be expected. Don't be embarrassed. Just get back on.
Just like a horse.
Just like a horse. And that puts the muscle in more of a stretch position. Okay. Now also, there are certain things that when you know the muscles are getting used to foam rolling, when you know you can get more aggressive about it, you could get a tennis ball, maybe even a golf ball, because remember, the piriformis is layered underneath the glute muscle. So to really get to the piriformis, you're going to need to get a bit more aggressive with it. Okay. But I wouldn't do that with a beginning student ever.
Something to keep in mind too. Something to keep in mind as well is that if you hit an area that's particularly tender or sore, don't just steamroll over it with the foam roller. Stop and hold it until it feels about 50% better, and then move on. If you just steamroll over them and think that that's going to make it feel better, because if a little is good, more is better, right? No.
Yeah, so I've heard.
If you do that, you're going to end up with some really great bruising. There's no reason to be bruised from foam rolling if you're mindful of what you're doing and pay attention to your body. So if you get to an area that's particularly painful, just hold it, then move on. You're going to find with most beginning students that all the areas feel particularly painful. So foam rolling is going to be a slow process for people at the beginning. And just encourage them to keep moving forward and not injure themselves while they're doing it.
And I would say hold it about 30 seconds at the most. Any more than that might cause the muscle actually to respond by tightening up again. So if you're going to hold the knot, about 30 seconds at the most. All right. Patricia's now going to go to the quadriceps, or the front of the legs. Now, a lot of the times, and she kind of mentioned this with the injury prevention, is when people have tension within their knee, we already showed you foam rolling the actual calf muscle. You also want to aggressively foam roll the quadricep muscle. All aspects of the quadricep muscle, or the front of your leg, connect into the knee somehow. And when it does not have the ability to contract, extend, and contract again, it's going to send all that energy into the knee. So someone's dealing with knee pain, you may want to suggest some foam rolling. And again, if they continue with their knee pain, remember, do not diagnose anything about their knee. But if their knee pain continues and they're not moving properly, or they cannot move properly, you want to suggest they may want to see somebody. All right. You can foam roll as fast or as slow as you want. If you find a bit of a knot, you can sit and hold that knot for up to 30 seconds, then move on. what you're going to find is you're probably going to find a lot more density in your client's quadriceps than almost anywhere else. Because again, quadriceps are meant to do a lot of work. Now, if you're feeling pretty good, you can actually do quadriceps, both legs on the foam roll. Oh yeah. So you can do both legs on the foam roll if you wish. And just rotate the legs back and forth, hitting the inside, middle, and outside. Okay, this is for a more advanced student if they choose. And make sure before you go teaching foam roll, you go through a good few weeks foam rolling yourself if you don't mind, just so you can feel the benefit of this.
Another great way to use foam rolling is in between sets of exercises. When your students are taking a drink of water or resting, have them foam roll in between the next set. What that's going to do is it's going to help relax the contracted muscles that they've got going on from the last set, and all that blood that's there, we're going to help push it out, move it out, and bring fresh oxygenated blood to the area so that they have more endurance and more power for the next set.
All right, right now Patricia's going to hit her IT band. Now the IT band is going to be one of those things that's going to really, well, it's going to sting pretty good. You could apologize for it. You're still going to have them do it. It doesn't matter. But really, very rarely does anything else really take as much consistent energy and pressure than the IT band. It's meant to do an awful lot of stuff. It's also a very long fibrous tissue also, to where good heavens, you're probably going to find a ton of adhesions. So even if I just take her leg and I slightly roll it back, you may find something. If I slightly roll it forward, she may find something. Okay? But tight IT bands can lead to so many different dysfunctions. You definitely want to get people working on this. So she's going to roll above her knee all the way up to the hip, and she can rotate it back and forth. But look what she's doing. She's putting one leg over, and she's putting pressure into her hands. You want to be able to control the amount of pressure you put into this foam roll in the IT band, because it will feel like you did a whole day's worth of squats.
And the shoulder blades are retracted.
Oh, I just noticed. Very nice. So again, this is the one you're probably going to hear a lot of people going, ah, really screaming bloody murder on this one.
One of the most common things people will complain about too is pain in their knees going downstairs. It's a common symptom of IT band syndrome. A great way to fix that is foam rolling the IT band.
Okay, you want to hit the other one too? And let's have you roll a little bit faster up and down.
Okay.
Okay, just go up and down a few times. Okay, no, she's not going over the knee. There you go. If the shoulders are starting to hurt a little bit too much for some of your more deconditioned clients, you can go ahead and have them go to their elbows or even to their shoulders if they need to. But again, make sure you're taking a lot of pressure with those arms and that forward leg so you don't drive too aggressively into that IT band or the vastus lateralis, the outside of the quadricep. Or you'll be pretty darn sore. Wouldn't you agree, Patricia? Yeah. We love the IT band. Right now, Patricia's going to actually foam roll her in between her shoulder blades, her low back, the lat muscles, the rhomboids, all scapular retractors. Here are some keys on this. I want you to keep it no farther than right there. Okay, we're going to bring her hands up. We're going to bring her elbows together. By bringing the elbows together, it's going to pull those shoulder blades away from, so we're not actually foam rolling bone. She's going to foam roll all the way down to her back, low back, and now as she gets close to her low back, she's going to activate her stomach by putting a light crunching movement all the way to the low back. And then she's going to bring it back just to the shoulder blades. I really don't want to go this up to her neck muscles. I want to keep it at the shoulder blades. And we want those hands put together. Right there's good. We want to keep those hands together and those elbows together to expose the muscle and actually roll those muscles out. Now make sure people do actually activate the stomach if they're going to go that far. We're going to actually be hitting not only their low back, but their lat muscles and their scapular retractors right there. So it's a great one, but it's also, it's a pretty chancy one if you got somebody pretty deconditioned. So pick and choose who you're going to show this to, because if they deactivate their stomach in any way and aggressively arch on that foam roll, you could injure them, which I guess is not what anybody wants to do. Okay, and if I show again, notice how her elbows are together, okay, to the best of their ability to expose those muscles. All right, Patricia was starting to talk about stability of the shoulder and actually how to relax the chest through foam rolling. You could use a foam roll. You just got to be able to take the pressure away from the shoulder, or you could find a foam ball, or a really dense kid's soccer ball works very well. I find against the wall works extremely well. Now, what I would usually suggest for people is this. Women got these things in the way that just really gets in the way of a good chest, foam roll. Stay along the collarbone and the breastplate. And usually that's where you'll find the majority of the adhesions or the density is for most people. Okay? You can also, with a foam ball or with a soccer ball, or if people are ready, a tennis ball, you can also get right here into the shoulder also. Excellent. And you can do this with the foam roll too. Okay? There are other things we can do here with a foam ball or with a tennis ball or with a good dense small soccer ball, or a children's toy, or a dog toy, is we're going to release some of the muscles here and in the neck. Now, it's very key when we switch over to the neck that we never foam roll the neck, okay, or the spine. Stay away from the base of the skull, stay off the spine. All we're going to foam roll is we're going to foam roll through here. The upper trapezius muscle is what we're looking at. The rear deltoids. Yeah. Maybe a little bit here through the rhomboids. All these little things are ways to kind of foam roll certain things out. All right, I'm going to have to switch over to your back.
Dang it.
Sorry. It was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right, and now she's going to stay off the base of her skull. Be very strict about that, because if you get someone foam rolling the base of their skull or their spine, they'll have headaches for days and they won't like you. They're not going to like you anyway, so you just want to give them something else not to like you about.
And if they have problems there, you need to send them to a great massage therapist.
Well, I would agree, absolutely. Okay, but you're going to find a lot of people, they have tremendous density in the muscles of their upper trapezius because of their environment of always sitting, stress, tightness here. It all works together. But again, remember, you're staying just on the upper trapezius. If you find something, hold it for no more than 30 seconds, and you can roll that neck out. So these are all specific things to foam roll the chest, foam roll the neck, and some alternatives for them if they don't want to spend, $30 on a foam ball. Give them some alternatives.
Tennis ball and a sock.
2 tennis balls, throw it in a sock, or throw it in a cotton pillowcase.
Yep.
Flop it over here. A satin pillowcase does not work.
No.
Slide right out of there.
Tennis balls. You can get 3 tennis balls for 99 cents at Walmart.
There it is.
So
what do you do?
Very inexpensive.
That's easy.
It's not about gear, people. Self-myofascial release is the next best thing to getting a daily massage. Well, you should have a good massage therapist that you can refer your clients to, because they're going to need massage and they're going to want massage. This is going to prolong the benefits of any massage that they get much longer, so they can get the body work, they can take care of themselves, they can move better and freer than they've moved in a long time. You're going to have people who couldn't bring their arms all the way up over their heads suddenly being able to, throw a baseball. So this is fabulous. Don't underestimate the value of foam rolling for your clients.
Some basic stretches I will teach almost every single boot camper is, once you've done some foam rolling and you've rolled out some of the density, so now we can actually lengthen the muscle, now it's time for some stretching. And I'm a huge fan, especially before movement, of some good active dynamic stretching, which basically means we're not going to statically hold the stretch. Hey, when you statically hold the stretch, you will shut the muscle down and therefore the body won't use it anyway. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you anchor your hand to the front of a fitness ball. I'm going to have you anchor your elbow to that same fitness ball. That elbow is going to come straight out from the shoulder. And here's a mistake a lot of people make when they're stretching, is they try to use muscle to stretch muscle. I'll see guys before chest press all the time, is they'll try to force a stretch. And what that happens is it makes the muscle actually tighten up on them, which is not what they want, I would guess. So what you're going to do is you're just going to relax, going to keep that hand right there. You're not going to have it all extended out. You're not going to have it all in tight. Just right there, straight out from the shoulder. And you're just going to let your shoulder blade squeeze back and let your body drop. You're not going to force it. Let your body drop. And you should feel a tremendous stretch through here. Hold it for about 2 seconds. Bring it up. And do about 5 to 10 of those on each side. Pretty simple. And just let it happen. Don't try to force it. Okay? Okay. And that's going to help actually lengthen those muscles out. Once you've actually gotten some of the density out of the muscles, you just got to reteach that movement again, because the brain's forgotten to get it going. So you're going to lengthen it out, let it contract, and you're going to start slowly bringing that movement back. Make sure they don't shrug their neck. They don't activate any other muscles. They just let it relax and let it just fall and let the stretch happen. And they don't try to force anything other than natural movement. Or as it says in my house, natural movement. Like that. There you go. All right, the next one I'm going to have you do, because a lot of people, they have very, very tight back muscles. I'm going to have you sit your butt on your heels. You're going to keep your butt on those heels. You're going to put your hands, palms up if you can, okay, and you're going to roll out to your elbows, keeping the butt on the heels. You're not going to shrug. You're not going to put your head below the shoulders. You're just going to roll out, and you're going to get a nice stretch throughout those back muscles. Okay, and you're not going to force it. 2 seconds, then release. Now, these aren't on the standard warm-ups or stretches that I usually give to boot camp instructors, but these are just some extra things. And I have no problem with you guys actually studying good flexibility through actually NESM, Paul Chek, ACSM. They have phenomenal programs through those certifications. Just like so, okay? And that's going to release those nice, tight lat muscles, all right? Next one. Whenever I personally, some boot camp instructors choose to do it, some don't, is I tell them, bring a 6-foot length of rope. It'll cost you a buck, okay? Unless you want to get a stretching rope, which you could buy from, a website, says stretching rope right there on the tag, that'll cost you 30. Doesn't matter to me. You tie a loop into one side of that rope. Okay? What we're going to do right now is we're going to reestablish extensibility to the brain and teach it how to actually move that muscle again. So the first thing we do is we're going to squeeze the butt muscle on the side that's down. We're going to let the leg raise up as high as it can under its own power. Then you're going to give it a little extra. Hold it for 2 seconds. Let it come down under its own power. You're going to let it come up again under its own power. Give it a little extra. I call that a hummel of hay. Anything that's a little extra is a hummel of hay. I tried a couple of hummel of hays here. A little extra. 1, 2. And release. A more aggressive version of this is to take the knife of your forearm, which is on the thumb side, bring it underneath your knee. Your job is to pull that knee to your chest as tight as possible. Toe up. Call that toes to the nose. That's a little more aggressive. Please don't get your 90-year-old grandmothers doing this one right away. And the job is not to let your knee do this as your foot comes up. These are all some basic things you could be doing. A basic quadricep stretch could be very simple like this. I'm going to wrap this. I'm going to go kicking at you. Here I come. I'm going to go wrap this around my foot. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my back. The whole job of this rope is to pull that heel to my back, to my butt, and keep it right there. It's not the rope's job to lift your quadricep up. So keep it right there. Lie yourself flat so you do not arch your spine and aggravate the spine. Now all you're going to do is, without arching the spine, is you're going to raise the quadricep up, keeping that heel on your butt. You'll find that's a great quadricep stretch after you foam roll them. These are some good basics. Patricia showed you a good basic calf stretch that you could do. These are good basics, doing them 2 seconds at a time, about 10 of them. Phenomenal for before, after, in between, all the time.
All the time. Watching the news.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, I want you to have some fun on that foam roller. Not too much fun. And help out your clients.